Okay, how to boil rice or pasta successfully. Okay, the first thing is how much rice are you going to use. I find per person, handful into the rice, take out that much, dump it out. That's about 76 grams worth of rice. If you pour it into your hand like that, you're only going to get about 70 grams. It's not quite the same. I don't know why. It's just not quite the same. That's what you do. One person's worth of rice in there. 2 people, you put in 2. That's more than enough. If you cup your hand, I guess it's still enough for one person. If you're not sure, put in an extra handful. But then that would be 3 persons rice for 2 people. That's how much is going to go in there. Cover it up with enough water, boil it for 20 minutes, no, bring it to the boil, and then leave it off on without any heat on it for 20 minutes. I'm going to do that now. It would be exactly the same with pasta. You'd bring it into there, into the water boiling, turn it off, put a lid on it, and then leave it for 20 minutes. Okay, that's it with a small amount of water in there. There's about 5 centimeters of water in there, maybe 6. You don't want too much, you don't want too little. It'll go starchy if you don't have enough. Okay, as it's starting to boil, I'll turn it down from 6 to 4, and then after a little bit down to 2. When it gets down to 1, it could be left on that. But the idea is that I want the heat to be dying just as it starts to boil. Otherwise, what you have to do is you have to pull it part way off of the ring so that it's not quite got the same amount of heat on it. If it's gas, it's easy enough to just let it boil and turn it off. If it's not, then that's not quite so easy. Okay, the heat has now been turned off. Now it's starting to boil. I'm going to put the lid on a second, but I'm going to do something else. I'm going to put some pilau rice seasoning in it. Like that. That's a bit much, that, actually. But that's it. Don't need to stir it around, just leave it at that, put the lid on it. There we go. That's now cooking. All I need to do now is make sure it doesn't boil up over the top for a couple of minutes, and then I can leave it for 20 minutes. Doesn't matter if I leave it for an hour or 2 hours. It's not going to overcook. 20 minutes and it's going to be cooked. If it's overcooked, then boil some water and pour some water on it, or bring it back up to the boil and then turn it off. That's all you have to do to reheat it. Okay, that's been going for approximately 10 minutes. I'm just going to alter it slightly now. I'm going to put in a handful of sultanas and raisins. Any dried fruit would be fine. You can also use frozen fruit. What you have to bear in mind if you use a frozen fruit, like blackberries or blackcurrants, blueberries, it's going to colour the water. As long as you accept that, that's fine. It won't do any harm to the rice. It'll just change the colour of it. So, handful, not a complete handful because these are kind of large. Sprinkle it in. Be careful not to splash up on yourself. You might get the boiling water up on yourself. Also, if it's a gas cooker, you need to put it back on the heat after 10 minutes to bring back to the boil, and then you can take it off. This is sat on top of the ring for 20 minutes, so it will keep the heat in. Put the lid back on to help that. If you're cooking on just one ring and you want to do something else, take it off the ring, leave it for 10 minutes, put it back on to boil. That's exactly the same as using a gas cooker. So you don't need to leave it on the ring all the time. I will put that back on to boil because I put the dried fruit in there. I'll just bring it back up to heat for a few minutes, but it doesn't really need it. There we go, it's back to the boil for its final 10 minutes. I've actually let it get a bit hot there, so I'm going to have to watch that and make sure it doesn't bubble over. Makes a lot of a mess if you let it bubble over. Plus, if you're not paying attention and you forget to turn it off, then you will drown all your rice, which is the problem a lot of people have. Okay, that's what it looks like after 20 minutes. still nice and hot. You could let it cool down if you want. It's then going to go into here and it's going to get served. And that's what it looks like when it's finished. That was just plain old white rice. Now it's pilau rice with some sultanas and raisins in. What I would advise with dried fruit is try and get something that's got cherries and pineapples or any other type of fruit in it that's got some colour in it rather than just these two. Although they taste alright. Also, once you've drained it, leave it for a couple of minutes because there's still stuff coming out the bottom. And you can see there's a bit of a mark on there. That'll just be all the starch coming out on the bottom. If you don't, you'll have a lot of puddle in your plate when you pour it out onto there because there's still starch in there. I'll leave it for a couple of moments. The rest of my meal is now preparing itself. Once that's finished, I pour that on with the other meal and my naan bread or chapati, and I get to eat it. It's very nice. Okay, this is going to be spaghetti. There's more water in there than for rice. It's nearly up to the top, but not quite up to the top. It's about 2.5 centimeters from the top. When it's a bit hotter than that, I'm going to put the spaghetti in. Then I'm going to wait for it to start to soften. That would do that in normal water anyway. Once it's in there, put the lid on it and leave it for 20 minutes without any heat on it. How much spaghetti? Approximately 6 rounds. This is just normal size. Might think, oh, that's pedantic to count, but you don't want too many, you don't want too few. If you find it's not enough for you, add a few more, maybe 5 if it's too many, and knock off 5 or 10. It's entirely up to yourself. But as this starts to get hotter now, and the moisture soaks into it, the spaghetti will bend into the bottom and I'll be able to push it all in. That's going to be another few minutes before it can do that. So as you can see, spaghetti is starting to bend now. It's almost to the point where I can put it into the pot. And all I'm going to do is put the lid on top and push it down. It should soak itself into the water because I've got enough water in there. Okay, now I put the lid on it. Put it together. Twist it backwards and forwards a bit. That should bring everything down. I'm actually going to push those down, but you don't really need to do that. Okay, as you can see, they're all now in. All I need to do now is put the lid on. Give it another few moments and turn the heat down. And then that's 20 minutes to cook. That's tonight's meal. More or less done. Okay, that's what it looks like when it's cooked. You can't really see that. After 20 minutes, it's now ready to be poured into the colander. I put the colander on top of a cup in the sink. And put the colander back onto the pan, let anything drain out. And you can see, after 20 minutes, very hot, bit slimy, but very soft. Oh, perfectly okay. That'll be my tea tonight. And that will be my tea tonight. That's sweet and sour and steaming spaghetti. It won't be steaming them, I'll have to put it back in the microwave. But as you can see, 20 minutes, perfectly cooked, perfectly okay. And that'll just need to get reheated up.